Hi there and welcome to Transcontinental Trailer Sales. Today we walk you through your 2024 Forest River Wildwood 174Bhle. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. This customer opted to go with the rear observation camera. You can also get the collapsible lip stair system to go with it. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can contact your parts department. And then of course you have your city water connection right here at the back of the trailer. So if you're at a site service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. And then if we're just coming to the left, you can come to either side of the bumper, pull on this tube. This is typically where you're going to want to store your sewer hose. We currently have a brand new one located in the front compartment, so I'll show you that in a minute. But typically after the first use, that's where you're going to want to put it. Just helps keep the smell out of the unit. In this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you got your stabilizer jacks. The way those works are, you're going to take your 3/4 inch drive tool, which is also located inside the front compartment. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just give it another 8 1/4 turn to snug it up, and it's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. Another thing I'm going to mention with this day and age, you can use a cordless impact to run this foot down to the ground. Just being mindful when you are using an impact, don't put too much torque on it because you can bend these pretty easily, so just be mindful of that. And then right beside that, you do your sewer outlet. You're just taking and twisting that off. You're going to notice your sewer cap got the same ears as your sewer hose does. They just lock into place like so and holds its own. You got your black valve and your gray valve. You're always going to want to empty your black valve first. This is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Just helps keep that hose that little bit cleaner. Then of course you have your main 30 amp twist lock connection for your power cord. You just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Line those up, press it into place, 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this, and you plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has 15 amp service. We do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keep it in mind when you're going down to 15 amps of power, it's just to kind of run your fridge and your lights. You're not going to want to run your air conditioner off that. And whenever you do plug it in, that blue light's telling you that you have a successful power source. A little red light will be telling you your source of power is bad and it's not the trailer. You know, we got that front compartment. Open this guy up. Strapped to the floor, you got your 3/4 inch drive tool. You also have your spare tire located way up there. And then we include this nice little starter pack, and inside of it is that brand new sewer hose, which I told you about. Then you got your 15-foot water hose and that 15-foot park adapter I told you about as well, and then just some other miscellaneous goodies. Once we're at the front of the unit, this is just a cover I'm going to put on there later. It's just for the ease of the video, I just left it off. You got your propane, just like home, standard barbecue style tank. Counterclockwise all the way to open it up, just opening it slowly, and it opens up the flow propane to the unit. And then you got your battery box located right in the front where you do have a 24 RV battery. On the left side of the unit, if you had a portable solar panel, you could plug it in there. Got your main door, which we'll get to in a second. Got your fresh water inlet. If you're out boondocking, or you just want to run off your tank, put a garden hose in there, turn it on. That's going to fill that fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. Right down below, because we're talking about the fresh tank drain is just right here. You loosen off that cap. The cap will come right off. All the water will start pouring out, and that's what drains your fresh tank. Furnace exhaust, so whenever this is running, it is going to be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. And the same does go for the water heater. If you're running it on, especially on propane, it will put off some heat. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right here. Pressure relief valve, giving that guy a shot. Whenever you first get to your campsite, you're going to want to give that a pull. There should be a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full. We currently have this one winterized, ready for customer pickup. 1/8" drain bolt right down here at the bottom as well. You just have to line this guy up to get that to lock into place. Got your 2 low point drains right here. So if you're servicing any taps or you just don't want the water going stale or stagnant because you're leaving the unit for a while, cracking these guys open like the fresh tank, all the water will drain out. Now to get inside, you are just taking your stairs, pulling them out, folding the last one down. That'll allow you to open up your door, get inside. So I'm going to mention now, you're going to notice if you open up the door all the way, it does block that awning arm. So if you were to run that awning, you might cause some damage. So always be mindful that you close this 90 degrees so that awning arm has free travel. You're going to step on its side. Off on your right is going to be that fire extinguisher, just like home, so you can shoot. And then up on the wall, you got your main monitor panel and switch panel. Turning that one on does turn on this one little entryway light. The rest of the lights are just on their own center push buttons. Other than that, you do have that awning control button, so you're hitting that button down, the awning's going to start making its way out. And once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to get it all the way out, just due to the space in my bay. Whenever you're bringing this awning out, always keeping an eye on the wind speeds. Once you get to about 5 km/h winds, you're going to want to make sure you bring it in. That is all we're going to be able to get out today. Now for it to start raining, you can take any arm, front or rear, loosen off the tab like so, push that in. That changes the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now if you like that angle better, you can do the same thing with the front arm, and it's going to allow for more shade underneath. Just making sure that you do loosen them off and allow them back to their full length before you bring it in, and leaving these guys loose. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. If you ever bring in the awning while it's wet, always making sure at your next most convenient time you roll it back out so you don't accelerate the growth of mold or mildew. You got your water heater option, so when you turn that on, this little DSI fault light comes on. The water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this DSI fault light stays on. And in that case, you do just have to turn this off, go outside, hit that black button I showed you earlier, and then you can come try turning it on. Water pump switch, pretty simple. And now this one little switch here is for the strip light on the outside of the unit here. The remote for this, so that supplies power to the strip, and then you do just have to use your remote and turn it on. And if you go outside, you're gonna see it is on. And then again, just as simple as hitting that button, the off button, and it'll turn itself off. You can either leave that switch on or turn it off, whichever you please. Just leaving the remote inside your drawer here. You got your propane stove. So not only is the stove propane, the furnace is also propane. So because of that, we got this LP detector right here near the ground. If this guy ever starts peeling off, you're just getting to worrisome levels, don't panic. Just open up some windows, turn off the main supply of propane, turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit, just to ventilate things out a little bit. To get this to run, you do just have to turn the knob over and push it in, and it turns on, it fires up. I had the propane system running earlier, so that's probably why it did fire up so quick. If you've had the propane system off for a while, it does allow air into the system slowly, so it can take a few minutes just to purge all the lines, so just be mindful of that. Main GF5 plug up here on the wall. You got test on the bottom, reset in the middle. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look. Another thing to note, whenever you are running your stove, I do advise just opening up this window and maybe having your door screen open just to allow things to ventilate a little bit. Classic blinds. You got your binder here with all your manuals and as well as your keys. Storage up top. And then right down below, you got your main fuse and breaker panel. So whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Then you got all your fuses on your right. Whenever one trips, there should be a little red indicator light telling you which one's popped. Your furnace, this is where it's going to put all its air out of. So if you wanted to get a little fan to move air around, it would be a good idea. The furnace is ran by the thermostat up here on the wall. So it's in the off position, turning it to the on position, sliding it all the way to the right is going to be its hottest setting. Anywhere in the middle is a cooler setting. And then whenever you turn it on and turn it off, it does run for an additional 3 minutes just to allow itself to cool down as an added safety feature. You're gonna notice this little label here. It is for the antifreeze inlet. If you take this drawer, slide it out on either side of the drawer, there's little black tabs. You just have to pull or push them opposite of each other. It will allow you to slide that drawer right out of place. And then you can get to your bypass hose for your antifreeze. And the little valve is just right behind there. Now that's just for the water pump. To get to the water heater, you're just gonna have to take these 2 screws, pull them out. This panel will pop out of the way, and you're gonna see the back of the water heater for those bypass valves for the water heater, because this is a tank water heater, so you want to avoid getting antifreeze in there as best as you can. And then to get the drawer back in, you just gotta line them up just like your standard household ones and push them into place. Even for a professional, sometimes it can be difficult. But anyways, I'll do that after the video. Underneath the front bed, you do get access to that storage compartment if you'd like it. Just have to lift it up. You got your table for your couch, for eating purposes. It just folds up and goes onto the bed. Storage for all your clothes, TV mount. You also have a backer back here, so if you're wanting to put a different mount on here, you could do so. Cable satellite inlet right up at the roof. On the wall here, you got your little Bluetooth stereo. It is going to be the stereo for the unit. You can take it right off of here, and it is rechargeable, so you can take it outside, play some music, come back inside. And then this is the charging dock for it, so always just make sure you clip that back in, charge it back up. You're going to notice this is your fire exit. Pretty simple. You just pull this red tab, screen's going to pop out of place. And in that case, you take this handle, push it out, and hop on out of the unit. All the controls for the air conditioner are on it itself. You got your louver controls, which will decide which direction the air blows. And then your knobs here, of course. You're going to notice there's a red section here. That were to be if there was a heat pump installed. This one doesn't have one installed, so it's only cool. You got 2 low fan options. And then one more time, you get to high fan, so that's just moving air around with the air conditioner, no heating or cooling involved. Then you get into low cool, so now it's a low fan with the air conditioning effect taken into place. Same thing, but with a high fan. Pretty simple. Bunks, top and bottom. Then you got your Furrion fridge, opening it up. Fridge and freezer. Controls for both are just this one knob here. Clockwise all the way is this coldest setting. Anywhere before that is a warmer setting. Then you're going to notice some off-grid writing here. That is the most energy efficient way if you were going to be running off battery power. The most energy efficient temperature, sorry. You got your charcoal filter to help with any fridge odors. We do sell replacement ones of these at the shop. You can just contact the parts department and they can put together a quote for some of those for you. Up at your head here, there is another one in the bathroom. Just the bathroom's a little tight for 2 people, so we'll show you this one. It'll allow you to slide that open. Once you're up top, you do have to pull this down, by the way. And once you open it up, do notice you are straight into the atmosphere. So if it were to start raining, it would get wet in here. And if you were to leave that open while traveling, you do run the risk of damaging it. Unless, of course, you went with a max air cover. Just goes over the top of this, covers it. It would allow you to leave it open whether you're traveling or if it's raining, it's not going to get wet in here. Switch on the side there, just turns on the fan, and then to close it, just like that. Pretty simple. There is another one in the bathroom. Once you get into the bathroom, the light's on its own center push button. You just got your shower and your toilet. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.